Hi, welcome back to the Pathsmokers Bible. My name is Zion. I'm the author of the Pathsmokers Bible, which contains the prophetic book of Zion, where I get my name and authority. It comes from the Ketuvim, or Old Testament. Today, I'm reading the 15th part of the dissertation of the 26th chapter of the Pathsmokers Bible, which contains the 23rd chapter of the book of Zion. And I will start where I left off. So, when I stayed true to Kenny, I stayed true to God 3. That chose him, and then proved it physically. It has been 40 years since Kenny was chosen for me, a generation in biblical terms. So, for an entire generation of the Jewish tradition, I have been faithful to the God of the Jewish people. Kenny was my test of faith. To be true to him was to be true to the God of Israel. 69:8 I am become a stranger to mine own brethren, and an alien to my mother's children. This so describes my family life, or lack thereof. Of my brothers, only two survive. The oldest, who is innocent towards me, and my younger brother, who is only slightly guilty. I also have two living sisters. My mother also survives, but I never talk to them. We're pretty much strangers. Now, I can't be part of a family that doesn't know who I am. No one in my family wants to know about incest, let alone about God. They would much rather think that I'm crazy. One of my sisters even went to the point of telling me that no one would ever read this book. They don't know me. They don't want to know me. They want a little sister who's just like them. But I'm not like them. I am an alien. I am the first grade. I'm a stranger. Now, I talk to my mom about once a month. She usually does the calling. But when I'm with my family, I feel like I'm an alien. I don't really belong. No one in my family is even slightly religious. I alone am a scholar. I have no familial ties, so to speak. I'm a priestess. My life is God three's. By God 3, I belong to Kenny. I am religious. I'm a spiritualist. I follow the path that my family doesn't get. I'm an alien to my mother's children. And it's funny, the rest of my siblings are all peas in a pod. They have everything in common. They all have families. They all have grandkids. They all lead normal lives. And they all party. They are their mother's children. Well, she doesn't party, but they do. When my family gets together, it is one great big party. Good times are had by all in the family because we're all Zionites and we party in the Zionite way. But they don't believe in Zion. So they're all just alike, but they're not just like me. Isaiah 61:10, Zion 23:47. I will greatly rejoice in the Lord, my soul shall be joyful in my God. For he hath clothed me in garments of salvation, and he hath clothed me in the garments of righteousness, as the bridegroom decketh himself with ornaments, and as the bride adorned herself with her jewels. I have taken the path of ascension. I will rejoice in the Lord, in my God 3, the God of Israel. I have borne the shame of the prophet's path, and I have puzzled out the path of salvation, and I have taken on the mantle of the bride. I await my bridegroom, my chosen one of God, my chosen one of Israel, my future king of Zion, the Messiah. Zechariah 4:14, Zion 23:48. Then saith he, These two are the anointed ones that stand by the Lord of the whole earth. On that faithful night, In early 1988, soon after my father passed away, I heard the words of the true God Three. I was told that I was the bride. I get what I wanted. Kenny, my husband of my youth, the one chosen for me by God Three, the only thing I've ever truly wanted to get back together with Kenny. We are the two anointed ones by God Three, the God of the whole earth, by the grave, by the earth, and by the unity that is the God and Goddess, the big three, the power behind all of reality in this plane of being. Kenny and I have spent the past 30 years interacting with beings and principalities. We are witnesses to alien contact, to spiritual unity, and to the Godhead of Ascension for all the family of Gray. Gray, the aliens, they're the Gray, they're hybrids. The Gray, they're human hybrids, and then the humans. We know the beings called God. We've known them for years. Jeremiah 33:15 to 18, Zion 23:49 to 52, 33:15. In those days and in that time, I will cause the branch of righteousness to grow up unto David, and he shall execute judgment and righteousness in the land. As I've already said before, Kenny is the branch of righteousness, the pot-smoking son of the last king to sit on the throne in Jerusalem. For the past 30 years, Kenny has been training to become a just judge, a true son of David, a Jewish branch of Jesse, to sit on the throne in Jerusalem as priest and king. My job is to make Zion real. Kenny's is to rule. He gets to sit in judgment over the nations. I get to be part of a much older, more logically run Council of Gray. Kenny gets to force-feed peace to a violent world of petty little men who think they're all grown up, but who are just a bunch of juveniles busting up the place. Because they can. So, Kenny has his work cut out for him. I, on the other hand, get to enjoy the fruits of all my labors. So Kenny will be the king on earth, so to speak, a true world leader, who will be a David-type king priest, who has personal relationships with the Gray. Like David, Kenny has spent years on the run dealing with the Gray. To David, that interaction was built on years of trust. The Gray helped David to avoid capture while running away from Saul, the king of Israel. The Gray answered David's calls, like Kenny, or like me. So Kenny is like David, in that he has worked with the Gray. Now, David had a real relationship with the Gray of his day. When David was on the run from King Saul, he prayed. The Gray answered those prayers, like they answer mine. Through my relationship with the Gray, Kenny learned to become like David, a Gray-related leader who knows the Gray internally, through years of experience, just like David. 43:16. In those days shall Judea be saved, and Jerusalem shall dwell safely. And this is the name wherewith she shall be called, the Lord our righteousness. This verse says that Judea will be saved, Israel will know peace, Jerusalem will be a safe place to live, and it's all because of Zion. She is the Lord our righteousness, not him. For all that a man will be a king for David, God Three, the God of Israel, is telling you that it is Zion, not Messiah, who is the Lord. The woman supersedes the man, the Lord of the earth. Our Savior, our prophet, is a female, not a male. So even if Kenny is dead, that's okay, because he lives on in me. And I am Zion. I am Savior. I am priest. I get to have all the fun because I am the one who did this. I wrote this book, having experienced it firsthand. A spirit king living in the body of a prophet, a female prophet. So, until Kenny either shows up alive or is searched out as a child, fulfilling the testimony of Isaiah, which says, "To us a child is born, to rule as king, a child is given, who will be raised to rule." I am okay with either scenario. The prophecy was written to allow for a variety of outcomes. Each key element is multidimensional. Now, Kenny was a man. He was a child, but he was a child in spirit. So, living, he fulfills the passage. But if he died, he is allowed to be reborn as a Tibetan Lama is. A man child, a Kenny child, to be raised to the throne. It is because of the unknown outcome of the possibilities projected that the prophecy was written to allow for many scenarios to play out. The multidimensional layers of the text allows every passage to be qualified in one of three levels. If Kenny did die of cancer, as I was told, he will be reborn as a child who was the man Kenny. So he lives. Now, if he lives, then he was a man who was a child born of spirit, taught through telepathy to rule. Both scenarios are possible. Both are valid. The Testament was written to allow for either reality. So, I am the Lord, her righteousness. Kenny is yet to actualize his choice in my reality. And that is okay. I am the one responsible for fulfilling the prophecy. I save Judea. I make Jerusalem a safe place to dwell in. I alone ensures salvation, being the one to volunteer to be his Lord. 43:17. For thus saith the Lord, David shall never want a man to sit upon the throne of the house of Israel. In this moment, I have realized something. This verse gives the actual throne of David to the queen. Her lordship. She is given David's throne. David shall never want a man to sit upon the throne of the house of Israel. It is written elsewhere in the prophecy that the female will supersede the male in the authority. So here again, I am being the highest authority in both Zion and Israel. The kingdom becomes a queendom. David, it says, will never want a man to sit on the throne. She is her lordship, our righteousness. David wants a queen to inherit his throne. Perhaps. So, even if Kenny is still alive, I'm still the true inheritor of the throne. As long as Kenny remains apart from me, in a physical form, I rule in my own right, through his namesake, by the vow he made to me, which made me his property, i.e., his wife, able to rule in his absence. But in truth, by my own inherent right, granted by David himself, who leaves his throne to Zion. And that is where I'm going to leave off for today. So, the next time we will start off with 43:18. So until then, may the Great watch over you, guide you, protect you, and keep you from all harm. May you be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds project truth, good, and light, the unicorn way. Stay happy and high, my people. Know that I love you, doing everything I can to ensure our better future. Talk to you later now, because I'll never say goodbye.